Hey, I'm Stuart, founder of DMARC Defender, and in today's video we're going to be adding a custom email domain to HubSpot and making sure that it's correctly authenticated with SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So for the rest of this video, first we're going to walk through adding that custom domain. We're going to talk about SPF records, whether you should add or edit depending on if you already have one. We'll talk about the DMARC records if you don't already have one, what the different options you have are for creating a DMARC record, and then some common mistakes. When you first get started, I'd highly recommend checking your existing domain to see what records you have. So you can use the domain check tool. I'll put a link below, but you just type in your domain and it'll tell you what records you have. So we can see here, I already have a DMARC record, which will be useful to know for later, and I already have an SPF record. I'll show what it looks like if you don't have these records installed, but if you do have these records installed, it's important that you know that and you don't create a new SPF or DMARC record because you cannot have two records, or you cannot create two policies like that, otherwise it will break. So just know if you already have a DMARC or SPF record when we go and set up the domain. So to set up the domain, we're going to go to HubSpot settings. We're going to scroll down to content, domains and URLs. We're going to go to email sending, and we're going to connect to sending domain. Here I'm going to go Stuart at DMARCdefender.io. Unfortunately, I already set this up just as a dry run for the video, and it won't let me use the same domain again. Or it says my DKIM keys are already installed, which would make kind of a boring demo. So I'm just going to do HS demo. Like I said, you don't normally need this. I just need to do it on a subdomain so that I can show what it looks like. So I'm going to click next. So this will allow me to send emails for a Stuart or name at hubspotdemo.dmarcdefender.io. For you, it would normally just be your root domain. Click next again. Here, so you can do it automatically or manually. Sometimes depending on who your DNS provider is, so this could be like Namecheap, GoDaddy, Route 53, a whole bunch of them. It's a third-party services that usually does the connection, and depending on how the integration works, it's possible that it'll ask you for your username, password, and usually your DNS entries are pretty sensitive. I wouldn't really recommend doing that. If it's simpler, it's easy for you, go for it, but I find it pretty easy just to update the DNS records manually, and that way no one has access to your DNS records. But again, whatever is easier for you. So here we're going to install the DKIM keys. So this is 2 DNS records, really not too bad. What we're going to be doing is just copying and pasting these values into our DNS panel. So for this particular domain, I'm using Vercel. So this is the Vercel panel. We saw that we needed to create a CNAME with this value. So we can see domain key means this is a DKIM. You won't have this HS demo thing. That's just because I'm doing it on a subdomain, but it doesn't matter too much. So I'm going to go there. Then I'm going to copy the required data. This is the value. Then we click add, and we created our first record. So let's go back, copy the second record, HubSpot key 2. We'll put it here. It's another CNAME. We'll copy the value. We'll put that here, and we'll click add. So now we have finished our DKIM keys. Next is SPF. So for SPF, we need to create that SPF record. Either you have an existing one, or you need to create a new one. So if you already have an SPF record, like we saw with just the plain DMARC Defender, what you're going to do is you're just going to add this. So this is the include mechanism, and you're just going to insert it into your policy. So I'll show what that looks like. It's saying I don't have one, again, because I'm doing it on that subdomain, but I do have one on my root account, root SPF. So if we search for v equals SPF1, we can see this is my existing SPF policy on DMARC Defender. We can see I already have an include statement right here. All I would do is just put it right here, make sure there's at least a space on both sides. So we have a space there, we have a space there, and we can see now we have the SPF policy included as part of our existing SPF. So we can click save, and there it's there. That's all you would do. I'm just going to remove it since it doesn't make any sense. This domain won't have SPF. We'll click save. Instead, again, since I'm doing that subdomain, you're not going to have to do this, but I'm going to put it under HS demo. Normally for you, if you don't already have one, you'd either leave this blank or do an @ It just depends on your vendor. I'd just try blank at first, and if it doesn't like that, then do an @ But since I'm doing it under the subdomain, I'll do HS demo. It is a text, and then it's v equals SPF1, that mechanism, and then all. So I'll create this just for the purpose of the video, and then I'll delete it later. So you can see here, I just created an SPF record. Again, if you're doing it on the root domain, you won't need this. That's just doing that for the video demo, so everything works out. Cool, it can see that I already have a DMARC policy. I'll show what it looks like to create a DMARC record in a second though. We'll verify, we'll see if it's set up yet. If it's not, we'll check back later. Yeah, it hasn't found the records yet, but I think it just takes a second to propagate. So next, let's talk about DMARC. So it's possible you already have a DMARC record. If you do, that's great. You can probably skip this. I'd still recommend, depending on if your DMARC record hasn't been tuned in a while. But if you don't have a DMARC record, like I said, you're going to have to create a new one. And there's a couple different things to keep in mind. First, when you create a DMARC record, it's going to be type text, similar to that SPF policy we just created. The host name is just going to be underscore DMARC. So like if I was here, it would be underscore DMARC is my subdomain. And like I said, it's a .text. And then there's a couple of different things we can put in here. So again, DMARC applies to all the services you use, not just HubSpot, and it specifies what an email server should do when it receives an email that's not authenticated or not authenticated. So the first and the simplest policy you can use is just say do nothing. So this says v equals DMARC1. The policy is none. So it doesn't matter if it's authenticated or not authenticated, just accept it. This is a very simple policy. Again, it doesn't really do anything, but it technically hits your sender requirements for Yahoo and Gmail bulk senders. If you send over 5,000 emails a month, you need to have a policy, and this technically fulfills that requirement. So you can do this, but again, you don't get any protections, so you don't get any observability. The next kind of level up is you can do v equals DMARC1, p equals none, and now you can specify a reporting address. And so what this is going to do is Google and Yahoo and all the email servers, they collect aggregation data whenever they receive an email from your domain, and they see like, hey, I received an email from, DMARC Defender or yourcompany.com. Did I accept it? Was it like a valid email? Was properly authenticated and all that stuff? Did I send it into quarantine, like aka spam, because something was fishy about it? It wasn't properly authenticated, or did I just outright reject it? So it'll remember all that, and then every 24 hours it will send out a report in XML to whatever email address you put here. Sometimes my video blocks it. If you can't see it, it's over here. And so every 24 hours, you get one of these XML reports. Even if you don't plan on reading these XML reports, I think it's still useful just to collect them. You can just specify so for me, Stuart at DMARC Defender, or usually what I do is I create a Google group or something or a shared account so that people can log in and see what these reports look like. But just start collecting them. You never know if you're going to need them in the future, and it's completely free to receive these DMARC reports. If you want to see what these DMARC reports look like, they look like this. Again, it's all XML. It's a little bit gobbledygook, but there are online tools that can read these XML reports. You just search for XML Analyzer. There's one on DMARC Defender. You drag and drop these, and it'll let you know if your emails are being passed or not. If you don't want to do that, there are also DMARC vendors. DMARC Defender is one of those. And what we'll do is instead of putting your email, you'll put the email address of one of these vendors, and we will collect those reports for you, and we'll aggregate them, analyze them, and we'll let you know when something is misconfigured, or if there's like a spike in emails that are being blocked, and etc. So it can be pretty useful for making sure things are set up correctly. There's also strict alignment, but we don't actually need to talk about that for this integration. Cool. So let's go back and check and see if these records are verified yet. Cool. Everything was connected. So now we can go back to the domain check tool. We did it under, was it HS demo? I think this was it. Yep, this is it. So we can see technically your DMARC record is inherited from your parent. If you didn't already create one, it would be like this. But also, like I said, to create the DMARC record, again, v equals DMARC1. It's uppercase DMARC1. P equals none. RUA is equal to mail to Stuart at dmarcdefender.io. And then I would hit add. Again, I already have a DMARC record, so I definitely do not want to create a new one. But we can see we have the SPF policy that's set up. And then domain keys, they're kind of random, so you can't automatically guess them using this tool. But HubSpot says they're connected, so you're all set. Cool. So if you have your DMARC record set up and HubSpot says that everything looks good, you are all set. There's a couple of things you could have done wrong. Like I said, I do see people pretty commonly creating an extra DMARC record or an extra SPF record. Again, you don't want to do this. If you use the domain check tool, it will look for multiple records and it'll alert you, but that will disable your policy and it will no longer work. And if your DMARC record is in report mode or reject mode, it will block emails, so something to keep in mind. The tool will also check for missing spaces. I was helping someone the other day. They had a space in front of their SPF policy, and that will also make it invalid. And again, if you're not using reporting, so you can just do this blank one. If you're not doing reporting, I'd highly recommend enabling reporting, this return address or aggregation address. Even if you don't plan on looking at it, I assume for your business that email is a critical component in making sure your customers receive them. So collecting that data is just very useful in making sure that everything is functioning properly. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me or leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer it. Thanks.